KJ, and this is the podcast where I review movies and TV shows from all your favorite superheroes, including Marvel Comics, DC Comics, and much more. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Great Talking Entertainment official channel. Now let's go, baby. Now, today's special guest, my special guest has a podcast. My special guest has
Yes, I
a
do.
YouTube channel. My special guest
Mhm.
loves anime. My special guest loves Pokemon. And my guest will catch them all real soon when they make more games, of course.
Yes.
And my guest loves superheroes. And of course, my guest loves to cosplay from Sailor Moon to one of the characters that I cannot remember right now from Kim Possible and to so much more. So, my
Oh
guest
yeah,
is
Shigo.
the one and only Kay Smith. Yeet. Welcome,
Hello.
welcome.
Hello.
So,
Thank you. Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
I'm glad you're here. And, you know, this whole place is about the nerdy stuff. So, let's get a little bit of know about you. Can you tell us what inspired you to start a podcast and what is the name of your podcast?
Yeah, so I really got hooked on podcasts in the last couple of years, and it's something I really enjoy listening to them. And I've always thought that it would be fun to start one. And after, kind of thinking about it for a couple of years, I just decided to go ahead and do it. So I have a podcast. It's called The Johto Journalist, and it's all about Pokemon. I cover lots of different topics from the games to personal preferences. I go over recent news and leaks. I'll be covering some leaks for the new Legends game soon, so that'll be fun.
And when it comes to a podcast, now I review like just movies and shows, of course. So I
Hmm.
understand like when I have to review, I have to write a lot of stuff down and get in the right mindset. What is some of your ways that get you ready and what's your what's your go-to do first before you even hit record?
So I am a note taker. I am someone that likes to be prepared and kind of have like a script in front of me of what I'm going to talk about. Otherwise, I just start rambling. So that's the biggest thing is I make sure that I have my notes and I what I do is I go through and I take a ton of notes and then I go through and kind of like make it into a more concise sheet. And then I just make sure that I have some water because sometimes I get a little choked up. So I always have my handy dandy water bottle with me. And then I just make sure that the room is comfortable. Exactly, yeah. And I just make sure the room's comfortable and it's decently quiet in the house, so nothing extra is picked up on my mic. And then I just sit down and record.
Yeah, that's almost mine. But then I have two cats and wherever I go, they follow me. And obviously this game chair is only for one seat. So I have to get them to calm down and fall asleep or,
Hmm.
just be distracted by something else. But then I start writing and all that. And what is like, do you have like a set schedule too, as far as like when you're going to release these things?
Yeah, so I put them out every Monday. I have taken a couple weeks off just because I've been doing a lot of traveling lately. But I am planning on releasing a new episode next Monday, and they usually come out anytime between like 10 and 2. It just depends on when I feel like scheduling them for that day, but it's every Monday.
Awesome. And also, you have a YouTube channel. Could you explain what you do on your YouTube channel and what type of content you upload?
Sure. So my YouTube is a little bit of a catch-all right now. It's got lots of shorts that mostly involve cosplay or just like little videos that I make like about my favorite Pokemon or cosplays that I plan on doing. And then I have full videos as well. Some of them are just like Let's Play videos. Like I'm currently working through the new Dragon Age game, The Veilguard. So I have a playthrough, a Let's Play video series going with that. Um, And I've posted some of my art there as well, like little short videos of doing that. So it's kind of all over the place, but mostly gaming and cosplay with a little art sprinkled in there.
Awesome. And how much like hours do you put on that when you stream? Like, because I'm sure you always want to get a lot of live viewers on there. And
Mhm.
do you do like the whole here's a clock and then you'll start at this time and stuff?
So I don't really do a whole lot of live streaming much anymore. It is something that I've contemplated getting back into because I did do it for several years. And now that I have a little bit more of a consistent schedule, then I might get back into it. But when I did live stream, what I would usually do is post those countdowns on my other social media like Instagram and Facebook and TikTok, and direct people over to my YouTube, which is where I was live streaming.
Awesome. I when I see you, I was watching some of your videos and I was just amazed. Like, I mean, because I
Thank
think
you.
I mean that looks tough to engage and then try to focus on like a video game in any sorts because it's like I love video games so much, like, and I'm sure you can relate to this, but
Mhm.
when you're playing a video game, sometimes you get so deep into it that you
Yes.
forget. And I always wonder if people ever just do that, like they're doing that and then they forget to, oh, I should have talked during this and explained what I was doing. I was just quiet and doing this and this. Have you ever done something like
Hmm.
that?
Oh yeah, I have. I have. I got so into a game, like fully concentrated one time, and this was like a while back, that I forgot that I was streaming. I forgot that I was live. And yeah, and I got up to walk away and I was like, "Oh God. Okay, I'll be right back, guys." Like I just totally forgot I was even live. And then I try to be pretty conscious about it. So if I know like I'm about to get into a really big fight or I'm about to be concentrated, I'll be like, "Okay, I'm gonna be quiet for a little while." Or I'll come back and say, okay, sorry, I was really into it. So, but I do catch myself doing that. You're definitely not alone.
And do you, let's talk about since we're a fan of Pokemon, like when did you start liking Pokemon? Like for me, it was the TV shows and then the card playing game before they
Hmm.
did the Nintendo stuff. What was yours?
Yeah. So I really got into it from the TV show. When I was a little girl, I absolutely loved watching it. My mom was actually amazing because she recorded the episodes for me while I was at school. And then I would watch them when I got home. And that's where I first fell in love with it. And then I started playing the video games. My first game, and I like came to this conclusion recently, was actually Pokemon Stadium on the Nintendo 64. So,
Classic,
yeah.
classic.
Yes. So I loved playing that, and then that's where my budding interest in the video games came about, and then that's when I transitioned into like the main series games like red, blue, yellow, gold, silver, all of those. So
And what and who's like your favorite like Pokemon of all time? Like who's your Pokemon?
Mew is definitely my favorite. I also really love Gardevoir. For a long time, that was like number one on my list. But then I just really like Mew, and Bulbasaur. Bulbasaur is my favorite starter, as well as Gengar. Gengar's my boy.
My favorite Pokemon is Charizard, Charmander, and Charmeleon. Like the whole
Nice.
all three. Like and what like about it because in like season one of Pokemon, like when first saw him at Ash Ketchum, and I saw him struggle with like Pikachu and stuff. But to see like
Hmm.
Charizard become this such a sweet Pokemon, so thankful that Ash saved him. And spoilers if you never watched Pokemon, but Ash saves Charmander from his flame burning off from those that mean old bully. And then he goes to the second phase, and now he has this teenage attitude. And when he was Charmeleon, I just what really hooked me on is when I forgot the name. I can't remember all the Pokemon, but I know everybody in the chat's gonna hate on me in the comments. But it was like a flying Pokemon. I can't remember it, but it was probably like a dinosaur type. And I just remember seeing Charmeleon just get so mad that he purposely turned to Charizard just to spite this other Pokemon. And I said, "That's my
Yes.
Pokemon right there. Like that's my Pokemon." Like, because it just reminds me of me sometimes.
Yeah.
And another one I always like was Psyduck. Like I know everybody like hates on him. He's not the best, but I think he has a lot of charisma, and
Hmm.
I think it'd be really cool to hang out with. And
Yes.
Gengar, I love Gengar, and the rest of the gang with them are my favorite too, for
Yes.
sure.
Yeah, I don't know if you noticed my beanie. It's a Ghastly beanie.
Yes, I see it. And you know it's funny, I when I got like the starter pack, I started collecting all the spooky ones first. So
Oh,
I
nice.
started with them, and there's a lot. Like I just
Hmm.
remember being excited for the hologram cards. But do you remember like your the Nintendo Switch ones, Violet and Scarlet? What's your
Hmm.
opinion on how that Pokemon games are now compared to like the first ones you used to play?
So I really love the new games. The Legends Arceus game that they came out with in the last couple of years, that is actually my current favorite Pokemon game, personally. I know there's been some criticism on the newer games, but I personally really like them. Maybe it's just because of nostalgia's sake, because I did come from the OG, like on the Game Boy Color and the Nintendo 64, and so I've just watched it progress, and it's a series that's really close to my heart, and it's like my biggest special interest in the whole world. I have a Pokeball tattoo. Like, I've always loved Pokemon, and I think it's great. I love where it is now. There are like a little there's some complications, and sometimes I think, oh, they're kind of, putting too much into these games, but I really like to see how far they've come along with all of the open world and the wild area that was in Sword and Shield. So those are things that are really exciting for me, is just seeing the Pokemon in the overworld. And I love it. I'm a fan of the things that they're doing. The DLC aspect that they've kind of put into the last few games, I do like what they've done with that. I was disappointed to hear recently that they're probably not going to do that um, with any of the newer games. Um, but I'm a fan. I like it. I like how far they've come. I think occasionally, I think that they are going too far with some of the new Pokemon. Like, I will be totally honest. I don't know most of the Ultra Beasts. Like, I did not play Ultra Moon and Ultra Sun, so I don't know anything about the Ultra Beasts. But yeah, it's become a lot to keep up with, but I am a fan of how it's progressed and where it is today.
And since you kind of brought that up about a new generation, how do you
Mm.
feel that they finally ended Ash Ketchum's story after all these years?
Yeah, so that was tough. And I was a little emotional about it, as many other Pokemon fans were. But I actually really love Horizons, so I'm not mad that they decided to retire him and go on to a new story with new main characters. Horizons is really cute, and I like what they're doing with it. I actually already want to cosplay some of the characters from it, so you know. But it was sad to see that era end, but at the same time, I think that they wrapped it up really, really nicely. So I can't be mad at it.
And besides him, do you have another a human Pokemon character that you're a fan of besides Ash Ketchum? I was always a fan of oh, what's the police officer?
Oh, Officer Jenny,
Yeah,
yes.
she was my favorite.
Yes.
And
So
then
I
Brock.
actually yeah, I actually cosplayed her this year. I really really love Officer Jenny, but actually Misty. Misty is one of my absolute favorite Pokemon characters, as far as like the humans. I think that she is really cool and she's really funny. So I like her a lot.
Now, another thing is, I want to ask is, when did you get into cosplay? What was your first one that you did?
So my first cosplay was Arkham City Harley Quinn when I was in college. And it was something that like I was always into. Halloween has always been my favorite holiday. So growing up and as a like young adult, I really loved Halloween and I just started getting progressively more and more intricate with my costumes. And then I discovered cosplay and I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, this is fun." And I just kind of started out with characters that I really like, mostly comic book characters. I started out with Harley Quinn, Poison Ivy, Wonder Woman, Wednesday Addams was one of the first ones that I did as well. And then from there, it just kind of developed, and I decided to start doing anime characters as well. And yeah, I met some friends early on when I started getting into it, and then that also helped me get farther into it because it was a new fun hobby to do with my friends too. So, and that's where I've been, and I've been doing it for probably about 7 years now. Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. I can't remember how long, but I know I started during COVID. That's when I got into
Okay.
cosplaying, and mine was the green Mighty Morphin Power Ranger.
Nice.
So, as you mentioned that you cosplay anime, and I tell you what, I want to do that, but I'm like nervous. I'm just self conscious of myself, and every time I talk to somebody at a Comic Con, they always tell me like, just do it, just go for it. Like, don't, it's you, have fun with it, because I like to cosplay a lot of characters from Demon Slayer, and
Oh,
and
yeah.
and because that's just one of my favorite animes. And so my
Mhm.
next question is, what is your favorite anime?
My favorite anime. So, it is Jujutsu Kaisen. It finally dismantled Death Note at my number one spot. I love Jujutsu Kaisen. I have all of my merch right here in front of me on my desk. I love it. It's a really, really good anime, and I've also been reading the manga as well.
Awesome. And do you like that type of anime? They're more on the I guess the horror side of anime, or
Hmm.
thriller, which I like both of them too. But I kind of like more is like the fighting, like the Dragon Ball to the One
Yeah.
Piece, Demon Slayer, um, oh gosh, I can't think. SOA sort of art line. I like
Hmm.
those, but I do like the horror ones, and I mean Death Note and oh, I forget. It was on. I can't remember the name, but there was a really horror one on Max. I can't remember it, but it was all in black and white, and it had
Hmm.
like these weird monsters. But that one, those I can't do a lot of horror anime. People always laugh at me, but I don't know why, but some of those drawings just did get to me. I'm like, ooh, that's
Hmm.
spooky. But
Yeah.
I always don't. I like torture myself with it. So I purposely keep myself there because I like anime so much, but I'm trying to always keep enjoying other stuff. But
Right.
I just can't. But that the horror anime, I it's kind of addicting in a way. I'm just like, man, this is neat. I never seen like scariness like that in anime, like with the
Yeah.
dark shit. I mean, everything like Noragami. That one, I know it wasn't like horror, but some of the subjects, I'm not gonna
Mhm.
say it just in case because I'm on YouTube. But some of the
Yeah, well, I was
subjects
gonna
they
say I haven't seen that one yet, so now I'm interested.
or some of the subjects are of in each episode is somewhat disturbing, and it's
Hmm.
kind of like a wow, like a reality hit on life. So that one You would like if you like Death Note, you're gonna love this.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
Now, when it comes to anime, do you
Mhm.
always do you make your own or do you like order a lot or a little bit of both?
Oh, for cosplay?
Yes.
Yeah, so a little bit of both. I sometimes I like to build my own props just because you can't really find good quality props sometimes, and some of them are really, really expensive, and so I can just make them and it's a lot cheaper. And honestly, there's a sense of pride in it whenever I do make my own props. Um, but as far as like if there's a dress or a uniform or things like that, like I'll usually order the clothing items and then most of what I make is like props or I'll style the wig myself. So it really just depends on the character and like what parts go into that character and what I think I can do myself and what I think I need to purchase elsewhere.
Awesome. And what is there a cosplay that you could share to us that you haven't done yet but you're planning to that you can share with us?
Yeah, so I really want to cosplay a couple more Sailor Scouts. The first one I think I'm gonna do on that list is Sailor Pluto because she's my favorite. So, that's probably gonna be one of the next ones that I bring out.
Awesome. I I never see I would like to cosplay the guy with I forget his name, everybody. I know I'm gonna get a lot of hates in the comments, but there's a male character in there. He wears like a tuxedo and a hat and like a mask.
Yeah.
I would
Yep, Tuxedo Mask is his
tuxedo
name
man. Okay,
actually.
see, I know everybody's gonna get on me on the comments, but that's okay. That's okay. But I would like to cosplay him. I always liked him. He seemed kind of goofy and he seems suave, but he has that like goofiness with him.
Hmm.
It was always one of my favorite. Now,
Yeah.
you said you only cosplay like one of the Sailor Moons and you're planning to do another. Would you do all of
Yes.
them if you in line?
So I don't think I want to do all of them. I usually try to mostly cosplay characters that I really connect with or share like personality traits from. So there are some Sailor Scouts that I don't feel that connection, that personal connection with, so I probably wouldn't do them. But my dream cosplay group is a full like Sailor Guardian cosplay group. I did like a partial one last year at a convention with some friends. I was Sailor Mars, and then we had a Sailor Saturn, a Sailor Moon, and a tuxedo mask. And then one of my other friends was also Sailor Mars. And that was cute. We got some really cute pictures of us together. We did the Spider-Man pose, like the you. And so that was really fun. But as far as the ones that I do want to cosplay, I could share those if you would like.
Yes, please.
Okay. So I already cosplay Sailor Mars. I really want to cosplay Sailor Pluto, Sailor Venus, who is another one of my favorites. And then I would also like to cosplay Sailor Neptune at some point. She is just so beautiful and I love her. Sailor Saturn is a possibility too, because she's also one of my favorites. And then there are a couple of other characters that are not Sailor Guardians, but they're in the show that I have also contemplated cosplaying as well. So that is like one of my favorite animes as well, which I know is kind of funny because it's a complete contrast to Jujutsu Kaisen.
Oh yeah. Would you ever cosplay any of the villains that was on that?
On Sailor Moon? Oh yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah. There is one character named Esmeralda who I have really heavily contemplated cosplaying. And then I also really love the design of Queen Nehelenia, who is one of the main villains in the later seasons. That one would take a lot though, because she's a very intricate character. So, but I think that would be so fun to do.
Awesome. And what about like any Marvel stuff that you want to cosplay that you can share with us as well?
Yeah. So as far as comics go, I usually cosplay more from DC, because that's just my preference. But I have said for several years now that I really want to put together a Scarlet Witch cosplay because she's one of my favorites. I think I would also really like to cosplay Captain Marvel. I like her a lot too. I'm trying to think because I have actually cosplayed. I cosplayed Spider-Gwen. Yeah, cosplayed Spider-Gwen one time.
Awesome. I I can't wait for them to do like a live action with Spider Gwen, Cindy Moon, like those.
Hmm.
I cannot wait. Like, but Sony needs to like hurry up with their stuff. But
Yes, that would be such a cool movie.
now you mentioned that you're more DC. So, what are some DC characters that you could share with us that you want to cosplay in the future?
So I have a ton of Harley Quinn variants, if you will, cosplays that I really want to do. I literally have an entire list in my notes of different versions of Harley that I want to cosplay because she is my absolute number one favorite comic book character, like just across every universe. So I really want to cosplay more of her. I would like to do a couple more different versions of Raven from the Teen Titans. Um, I am obsessed with the DC Bombshell art series. And so I've always wanted to cosplay some of those specifically, including the Bombshell Black Canary, the Bombshell Batgirl. Um, and then outside of that, we think. Okay, I think Killer Frost would be fun to do at some point.
Oh yeah, you don't see a lot of her in live action
Yeah.
except in the CW.
Hmm.
You know, Batman's my go-to guy for DC when I want to cosplay. But
Yeah.
one I'll share one with you. I think my next cosplay when I do DC, I definitely want to cosplay Green Arrow, but not the CW one. I want to do the if you remember the cartoon show Justice League.
Hmm.
I like how Green Arrow had the hat and the
Yeah.
sleeveless shirt. Like I don't.
Hmm.
I think I love the CW Green Arrow. Like I like it. It reminded me of the Dark Knight. You know, but I think and hopefully James Gunn sees this video and hears this, but he should do like classic Arrow costume. Like
Yeah.
I think in 2024, 2025, and so forth, I think the world could accept that as a quote unquote superhero film in theaters
Hmm.
and stuff. But I just like that outfit so much. Like it's obviously Robin Hood by the design, but that's what I always remember him. Like again, I like the CW, I like the hood on him, but I think we should see the classic one to me,
Right.
and that's something I would just love to cosplay. And you know what, you can get more goofier with him and be more lighthearted because again, you want to
Hmm.
just leave all that stuff to Batman, especially Batman. But
Yeah.
I think if you make him young, a little cocky, same with the Flash. I think people would love that even more. Like, but that's and Flash is another one I would like to cosplay. So
Yeah.
now we're gonna play a little game, and this is these are a little tough, but they're just for fun. Only five
Okay.
questions. So, what is the best advice that you heard or received?
Mm, growing up, it was something that my dad used to say all the time, and it really helped me and encouraged me to really just be who I am, without caring if other people are going to think that I'm weird. He used to tell us that normal is a setting on a washing machine. It is not a descriptor for people. And so that's something that I've taken with me throughout my life is that normal is a setting on a washing machine. There is not a normal. So be who you are there, there's no such thing as a normal person. Everybody has their own quirks and qualities, and so that's something that I've always taken with me. about, just kind of encouraging me to be myself.
I like that. I never heard of that, but I like that. That's a real good
Yeah.
quote. I'm gonna rewatch this and like write it down and just post it on my
Yeah.
on a sticky note. I never heard that. Just kind of like opened my brain up. Like
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think like I opened.
Listen, my dad is full of horrible dad jokes, but he's also full of a lot of wisecracks. So,
I like that. What now? What is the worst advice that you have heard or received?
um, hmm. I'd be nothing really specific. The only thing that really comes to mind is just anytime people try to give me advice about things that I know that they have not been successful with, like in their own past. But nothing really specific. Yeah, nothing specific that comes to mind.
All right. Now this one's a little bit challenging. Now
Okay.
this is gonna be on the internet, but what is your goat Pokemon game? Goat Pokemon.
Oh, my go-to Pokemon game. Okay, well, right now it's Pokemon trading card game Pocket. I'm obsessed with it. I play it all the time. But like one that I would go back to so many times would be Pokemon Sapphire. That one's just really special to me. I don't know why. I spent so much time in the Hoenn region, so I guess it just kind of holds a really special place for me.
And I was asking like, would you consider that the greatest game of all time in Pokemon?
No, I wouldn't consider it the greatest. Now, if we're going there, if oh goodness, that is such a hard question. Uh maybe Heart Gold Soul Silver. I think yeah, I feel confident in saying that that would be one of the top Pokemon games.
My what I consider the greatest Pokemon game would be on the Game Boy Advance Ruby. Like
Yes.
I that one I a lot of people would say Pokemon Yellow. I love Pokemon Yellow. It's the game that started it, you know. But it's kind of like
Yeah,
okay, but when you get to the Game Boy Advance, I always believe the Pokemon game got a lot better. Like
agreed.
I mean, just I remember the first time getting mad, like and just always walking in the grass and getting stuck with those rat-a-tats. Like I don't need no more. I have like 37 too much. Like
Right.
I
All the
need something.
Pidgeys.
Yes, like that's that game was and stuff like that always motivate me to like find okay, I'm gonna not cheat, just go the long way. I'm gonna
Hmm.
avoid all these, do the right thing. And I was like, but game that would just make me love playing Pokemon because
Hmm.
now I want to see how many times can I get all the good Pokemon before I get stuck getting all the weaker ones. Love all the
Yeah.
Pokemons, but just I don't need too many Pidgeots or Caterpie. So that's why I just love that game so
Yeah.
much. Now, the final question.
Okay.
If you can make one law that everybody had to follow, what would it be?
Hmm. One law that everybody had to follow. I mean, obviously this isn't in like uh technical fancy law terms, but protect the children. Protect the children by all costs.
Oh,
Every way, anyway. Protect the kids.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
Prove.
Thanks.
Kay Smith, thank you so much for
Yes, my pleasure.
and I hope everybody who's watching this video, I hope you truly enjoy this. Please follow her on all her social medias. It'll be in the description link below. So you can always keep update with her, learn new
Yeah.
things about her, and definitely check out her podcast, especially if you love Pokemon. And I know everybody here on Great Talking Entertainment official channel They love Pokemon. They love the games. They love the shows and the movies. So definitely follow her and subscribe to her YouTube channel and just hit that link below under there. And again, thank you, Kay, so much. And if you have not yet, everybody, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Great Talking Entertainment official channel. Subscribe, hit that notification button so you can always be updated with all my latest content. Thank you guys, and peace